Hello and welcome to the Unauthorized Teacher Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited for our interview today. I'll let him introduce himself because nobody knows him better than himself.
Hi, I'm Israel Medrano.
Hi, Israel. How are you today?
It's going great. I'm enjoying the summer.
So, you used to be one of my mother's former students, correct?
Yes, I went to the high school that your mother teaches at, and I didn't have her directly. I wasn't a theater kid per se, but I had always seen her around. And now that I'm an adult and I got my college degree and I wanted to go in for teaching, I ended up getting a job right out of graduating at the same high school.
Wow, congratulations. Doing what? A job doing?
So I now teach math. For the last 6 years, I was Algebra 1, but last year that just finished, I did Algebra 1 and I did something called Math College Prep, which is actually for our seniors. So I had the ones coming in and had the ones coming out.
That's really interesting.
It was my favorite year so far.
That's so fun.
So good.
How many of each class did you teach?
It was 3 and 3, so it's split.
Split right
Mhm.
down the middle.
Yep.
That's so fun.
It was great. I loved it. This
Good.
year really helped me come back into actually
Good.
enjoying teaching part.
What's
It's really
the
fun.
biggest difference between freshmen and seniors?
Ooh, how long you got? None. The biggest difference is that, for your freshmen, you can see that they're, really into the moment now.
Yeah.
They can't see past the weekend, for freshmen, especially for our high school, there's always something going on a Saturday. There's a bunch of parties and, in the city that we live in, anytime that our students turn 15, it's a big party, big quinceañera. So the kids are always up with that. But for the seniors, I could see that, gear turning and they're starting to think about what am I going to do outside of high school?
Yeah.
So they're working, they're planning, they're really, really getting the gears going. And, I think that was the thing I enjoyed seeing the most is that difference of the freshmen in high school, they are in the now, and then the seniors, they're planning for the future. They're
Right.
good. I really enjoyed seeing that.
That's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. So, what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 2014.
2014. And you said you got a job right out of high school?
Yep. So as soon as I graduated, I started at the university that's closest to here in Canyon, Texas. WT Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
But I started right after graduating. I actually took some summer courses, and it took me 5 years to finish,
That's okay.
which is fine. And I always kind of give that little example to my kids. Like it didn't, take me the whole 4 years. I took about, and I messed up a little bit while I was there, but I got it back under control, got my degree, went in for teaching because I knew this is what I wanted to do. And that summer of 2019, my life really did change. I found out that I was going to have a baby, married the love of my life. She's my high school sweetheart. And, you know, that summer I had to go from broke college kid
Mm-hmm.
to get a real job and, be an adult.
Yeah.
So that summer of 2019, when I graduated, my daughter was born in June. I worked as a custodian for the district in July,
Yeah.
and I got a call in August to interview to be a teacher. And I nailed it. And I had to pass
Of
my
course you.
teacher certification
Yeah.
because when I graduated, I only had a certification to teach math 4 through 8.
Yeah.
So in Texas, you can do upper elementary to middle school. And I student taught at a 5th grade class, and I quickly realized that littles were not my thing
Yeah.
because, it's difficult. And
The littles are very
I
difficult.
knew that middle school is for the brave souls
Oh,
that I cannot be. So I took the high school test and I passed it on my second try. I didn't do it on my first try. I failed that first time though.
that's okay.
I got it. And
Those tests are hard. Since I had to take one to intro to be a teacher. It was like 100 questions, and it asked me about Sylvia Plath and the Bell Jar and Moby Dick, and I was like, "I'm teaching 6th grade English. I'm not teaching him Sylvia Plath."
yeah, my test, since I'm a math guy, it's same 100 questions,
Uh,
math, to the max. It was like calculus and all that
Gosh.
fun stuff. And it took me 5 hours to do it, which is the max time.
Yeah.
Cause I remember staring at the clock thinking, cause everything was riding on this test.
Mhm.
I needed to get this job, just support my family that I'm now creating. And man, I got it. I remember the principal coming in. It was the first week of school. And she was like, "Hey, I heard you passed your test." And I was like, "Yeah." And like, I was halfway scared. I didn't know what to do, being a new teacher and all. It was fun. It was an interesting summer of my life.
Sounds like it.
It's been great so far though.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing a fantastic job. What teachers have inspired you the most?
While I was growing up, I didn't think I wanted to become a teacher. I remember in middle school, like you got those projects and they ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? I remember I put down police officer because my family had always been like, these are good guys or people that are helping us out. And that's what I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to help out. But then as I got older, I was like, oh, that's a lot of stuff they got to do. I don't know if I'm up for that. And then memorizing things are not my strong suit. So like memorizing certain things and laws and stuff probably wouldn't be just for me, because if you had an officer that need to look up if this is legal or not, probably wouldn't be such a good thing. So I was like, okay, let me switch courses. And I was sitting in the math class. It was a pre-calculus my junior year. And I remember thinking like, this is the only subject I'm really good at. And we were doing like a little group thing, like you got to group up and be partners with somebody. Of course, I had some football jock that was in my class. I was like, "Hey, be my group." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay." And, I was always the guy that was helping out everybody. And my teacher took notice of that. And she basically called me after class ended and she was like, "You helped them out a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, they don't know how to do this. So I'll help them how to understand it." And she was like, "That's basically teaching, right?" I'm like, "What?"
What?
Yeah, no, I was kind of taken aback by it. I was like, "No, I'm helping them out. Like, he didn't know how to do it. I'm helping him." She was like, "No, you're helping him understand how to do the work instead of, him coming to ask me, he can rely on you.
Yeah.
He's trusting you." And I'm like, well, when you put it that way, like, I guess.
Yeah.
And, then it kind of clicked for me. I was like, she's right. I've always had that little thing in class, in my math classes, that I would help, a kid. And she basically kept kind of putting that in my ear the whole rest of the year, like help them,
Yeah.
tutor them, help him learn it. Cause she would always be like, if he can't understand how I'm teaching it to him, if he can rely on you, you're helping him understand it.
Yeah.
You're helping others. And
Yeah.
I know now that I know I'm a teacher, I know that that's, like high cognitive developing. You're
Right.
helping someone learn it because you already learned it. So that's depth of knowledge for something that they always talk about in our professional developments. They always do that to us. So at the time, I didn't know that I was teaching, so like getting that practice in. But then when it was time to like lock in and see what do you want to do when you graduate, and I'm just like, oh, I'll be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I remember putting that in all the applications and all, signing up for my class schedule. And I remember the advisors being like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be a teacher." And I stuck with it, even though most of the classrooms I was in college, it was like 20 to 1, 20 women were all there, and
Yeah.
I was usually one of the only guys. And if
Mhm.
there was any other guys in that class, they were usually gonna be teacher coaches.
Right.
And I was always separated from them because I was like, I'm not gonna be a teacher coach. I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach, not throw a packet at somebody. Sorry for all the coaches that throw packets at their
And
students.
there are some wonderful coaching teachers out there. No shade to any of you,
So it's
except for the ones that do just throw.
yeah, man. Yes.
What is the biggest difference between when you went to school and schools now?
I would like to think that there's not much of a difference because it wasn't that long ago, but thinking about it now, there is such a big difference. I feel like social media really kind of blew up while we were going to school because I know we're about close to the same age.
Yeah, I graduated in 2017.
Okay.
So
So yeah. So just, I feel like it was fun and, utilized well. I know that it started becoming a problem. Like, I think that's around the time that like they kept talking about online bullying. But now I feel like it's just been blown up tenfold because now a kid can wake up on social media 18 hours later, still be on social media. Like it's an all day thing. And I feel like when I was growing up, there was a time for it. And then there was a time where I was unreachable. Even if I had a phone, I was busy. I was doing something. I played golf while I was in high school. So after school, if you couldn't find me, it's because I was on the golf course till 5, 6:30. And, if something happened, I would find out later from friends. But nowadays, everything is so instant. And I feel like the kids now are reactive to that. If something's happening right now, they want to go be a part of it right now. And, the thing is, back then we could wait. We could find out later.
yeah.
It didn't always have to be at that moment.
Right.
And I feel like
Right.
that's kind of what's changed, unfortunately. And it's some of it's good. Like being reachable is cool. Like, sometimes there's things that are going on that you want to be a part of, but I think the negative side is that the kids are so easily accessible.
Yeah.
And, that's not,
Easily distracted.
yeah, it's really bad. And, sorry to be a downer, but I wish that could change a little bit. I liked the times where we could be in the moment
Right. Right.
because it was fun. I enjoyed having that.
Yeah. It's definitely you learn a lot from those moments.
Mm.
What is a time when you felt particularly successful as a teacher?
There's been a few moments. I know that on the daily, like whenever a lesson is going and you're in that flow and the kids are getting it, you're rocking, you're not even stuttering, you got all the things memorized, you know, as a teacher, you got your lesson plan going and during the day, you've taught this 2 times already, 3 times already. You kind of know what to expect. You kind of know what questions are coming up. When that's going, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
But like overall, long term, I remember looking at a group of kids that were very nervous, kind of, they start the year off and they let you know right away. I'm not good at math. I really hate my previous math teachers coming in from middle school or something like that. And at the end of the year, I get to tell them, "Hey, you passed. And not only did you pass, you mastered it."
Yeah.
And there was one kid in particular, I'm gonna call him Jay. He was a big football boy, big mullet, offensive line guy. He straight up told me, and he actually called his dad in class. I let him. Sorry, admin. I let him call his dad in class when he found out he mastered his STAR test.
Wow.
And the previous year, he didn't even pass 8th grade math.
Wow.
And his dad was so proud of him. And then he passed me the phone. He was like, "Hey, Mr. Medrano, I just want to tell you, I'm really happy that you were his teacher." And that was a great moment. It really solidified that I'm
Those
doing the
moments with
right thing.
parents, yeah, that's are always so magical, aren't they?
Yes.
You call them and to give them a good thing, and they say, "What did they do?"
But no, I'm here for a good thing.
Yeah. I love the relationships that you're able to forge with the parents
Yeah.
sometimes. I made a really good relationship with some of my parents and or some of my parents and guardians, and those were when I felt the most beneficial
Yeah.
with the students when I was, working as a team with their
Mhm.
parents.
Yeah. I know. I wish that could happen more because a lot of our students deserve that to
Yeah.
have a village, to have a team behind them.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's only you. Sometimes you're the only adult that they can talk to about certain things, and
Yeah.
I'm always happy to be that for a kid if they choose to share those things with me. It's always fun. Teaching has been a lot of fun.
Beautiful. What does good leadership or good admin look like to you?
I've seen it a lot. It looks organic. You can tell that they're there and that they mean to be there. It's not just for some document or
Mhm.
a formality. They're there because they genuinely care.
Yeah.
And I feel like leadership is when they don't just tell you to do something, they show you how to do something. They lead by example. They're always the first to put themselves on that block of this is how we're going to do these things, and it starts with me. And whenever you get a good community, a good group of teachers that see that, that's when we follow suit. And
Right.
I feel like it's always good at the beginning, but then a good leader knows when to refresh it because
Mm.
things over and over again, you get tired, but they just revamp it, and they're always they're always a presence. You never wonder where are they or anything like that. It's what a good leader should be,
Yeah.
and luckily we have that.
It takes a team, it takes a village.
Mhm.
It takes a village to be a village, and it takes villagers to be a village. I find what you said right at the beginning really interesting. It's organic.
Yeah.
It's not forced.
No, because I think I've seen some admin come and go, and they say things, and it's just lip service sometimes, and then you turn around and they're gone,
Yeah.
and they were only there for that 1 year, and they used it as a launching pad to go somewhere else, and
Right.
I understand some campuses are launching pads, and you go be great somewhere else, but you know when you have that trust, it's good to have someone beside you that knows, hey, I'll be here for those years to come, and
Right.
it's that loyalty. Uh,
Students deserve teachers who have that trust and that attitude.
yes, for sure.
And it goes all the way up.
Yes, yeah, because if things changed every year, like we got a new set every single year of different admin, things would just probably go crazy.
When I was teaching, we had 3 principals during that 1 year.
Ooh,
Yeah. It was chaos.
yeah.
Chaos, and the principal that came in towards the middle, she was amazing.
Oh,
She was amazing. I saw her in the hallways, everything, but she was only there for a month,
and then took off.
and then I don't know what happened, and nor can I say, but and the students knew.
Yeah.
I had students I overheard a student joke once, "Oh, you can do whatever you want in her class because if she calls for help, no one's gonna come."
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I overheard that. I was like, "Yikes."
Yeah, because what are sixth graders? 11, 12 years
11,
old?
12,
Yeah, you get a 12-year-old thinking that nothing's gonna happen, that's
dangerous.
dangerous, yeah. See, I would be the type of teacher that would probably be like, "Okay, let's take a bet. How long is this principal gonna last?"
Yeah,
I would probably be that guy
yeah.
and probably take a couple 11, 12-year-olds money, be like, "Hey, give me my 5 bucks."
Tell me if experienced this as a teacher. I found money on the floor of my classroom.
Yeah.
And I would tell my students would pull out their money and flash it because, they do that. And I would say, "Hey, do you know what happens if I find money on my floor? I give it to the first unhoused person I see on the street on my way."
Well, so you're a better teacher than I am. I put my foot down and, "Ooh, that's my floor." And, sometimes if it's a lot of money, because 'cause I've had kids with tons of money, and,
Yeah.
that raises question on its own, but then I try to be, I try to be nice. I'm like, "Hey, where'd you get all that money?" And, they're like, "Oh," and then the first thing I usually ask is that fake money? Because I've seen kids with, like,
Oh,
fake
yeah.
play money
That looks so
that
real.
looks so real, and I'm like, "Is that real? Let me," and I try to put my hands on it, "Look, let me see that," and some of it will say, like, for motion pictures on the top,
Oh, yeah.
and that's when I'm like, "This is fake money, come on
Well,
now."
you can
Yeah, and then, like, the
shit.
real one, you can feel it.
Yeah.
'Cause, there's been some Benjamin Franklins in my room, and I'm like, "Is that real?" And it
Wow.
was real.
Yeah.
It ended up turning out being the kid would come after school and be like, "You know, I have this money because I'm doing a fundraiser, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. That's great. Get your money. Fundraise the hell out of it." There's been some times where, like, kids have a bunch of money, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm over here with my $5 in my wallet, you know, not getting lunch today because I have $5 in my wallet. Kids are kids, and It's
Speaking
fun
of
sometimes.
counterfeit money, I went to a museum in Frankfurt. It was called the Money Museum, and there was a whole exhibit about counterfeit money.
Wow.
And they had counterfeit money from back in Roman times, and
So it's always been a thing.
it's always been a thing, and it was just really fascinating to look at the difference between the counterfeit money and the real money,
Mhm.
and the things that people think that they're gonna get away with,
Yeah.
and the fact that counterfeit money has always been a thing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
So see, that would be fun. Like if I had like a economics class, that would be something I would take my kids to.
There's a
That
Bob's
funny.
Burgers episode where they're doing a class economy, and they counterfeit the money, and they catch them because they put something in there. I would I'll see if I can put the episode number in the description,
Okay, cool. I love
but
small burgers.
I love Bob's Burgers. So comforting.
Yeah.
So hypothetically,
Okay.
if you could snap your fingers and instantly change one thing about education, what would it be?
It's that testing.
Mm,
Testing is tough, especially because of the amount of testing that we do now.
yeah,
I remember growing up, and this is not too long ago for the listeners. I remember taking just one test
yeah,
for one subject at a time,
yeah,
and probably be like a couple days out of the week, but it was always at the end of the year, and I didn't have to worry about it much else.
yeah,
Now I feel like we're testing them at the beginning of the year, during the middle of the year, before Christmas break, and then when we come back before spring break, and like we're testing all the time.
yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks as a teacher to notify the kids we got another test
Yep.
when it feels like we just finished one.
Right.
And that's the one thing I would definitely change. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going anywhere. Testing and that whole department is big business, and they make billions.
Yeah.
So I hope it gets better though.
I hope
'Cause-
so too. Yeah, we were just talking before this, and I counted my students took something like 10 tests
Yeah.
just in my class. And
Yeah.
these were tests that I didn't choose,
Yeah.
you know?
Prepare for. You don't know what's on it sometimes.
Not once did I choose to give my kids a test
Yeah.
because I was like, they are getting tested out the ears.
Yeah.
And I never once wrote a test, never once did anything like that. I assigned essays
Mhm.
because I love an essay. Yeah. But gosh, it's just exhausting. And it gets to the point where the kids don't take it seriously.
No, and I've been told this many times. A kid would bomb it and just be like, "I just wanted to finish and get out of there."
Yeah.
Even though once they finish testing, they have to sit there for the remainder of the time, which is usually about 4 hours
Yeah.
ish. We usually end about midday. So a kid will finish the test in 30, 40 minutes and sit for the rest of the 2.5 hours and just be happy and compliant, and not a care in the world. They didn't care about what they scored on it because they've already had it in their head that this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So why does it matter to me? Like, why do I need to care about it? And then some kids even know about like some of the testing things that come with it. So like if a kid does well on the test, like there's some money that could be tied to it, the performance base. And some kids are like, "Oh, I don't care about so and so getting extra money. I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
I don't care about this."
Why would they?
And it's very, very real. It's true.
Yeah. So this is funny to me. So in my first episode, I mentioned that somebody from the district came in and told me that my students couldn't pay attention for more than 2 minutes at a time.
That's rude.
Yeah, in front of all of them, by the words. Anyway, that's in the first episode, but then about 2 weeks later, I was expected to sit with the same group of students for 4 hours. I wasn't allowed to give them a piece of paper to draw on.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to give them a game to play. I wasn't allowed to let them talk. I wasn't allowed to show a movie even when the entire room was done. And I was like, "This is very hypocritical of you to expect me to cater to their attention spans when it's on my time, but when it's your time, I'm not allowed to do anything."
Yeah. All of a sudden, they can't pay attention for 2 minutes needs to turn in. They need to take a 60 question test and
Yeah.
focus for 4 hours.
I got in
Crazy.
trouble my first state test because the entire class was done
Mhm.
and they were bored, and I still had that stack of blank paper that they'd given me, and I gave each of the kids a piece of paper and I said, "Draw your favorite teacher, and we'll have the teachers come in and vote on their favorite drawing. Make it a game."
Yeah.
I got in trouble for that,
Oh, man.
even though everybody in the room was done.
That was a great idea.
I know, and they were so invested in it
My
and
first year teaching and that first testing year that I had,
ugh.
actually, it was COVID. Ooh, never mind.
Oof.
I think there was some, like, interim or something that we took because I remember giving my first little exam,
Yeah.
and I just told the kids, "Go to sleep,"
Yeah.
and they did. They were happy to go to sleep. I didn't even give them paper to draw on, but I that was a great idea, see, and you got in trouble for that?
Yeah, because they could have cheated? I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, the effort that they would put into cheat is, bigger than the effort that they put into the test
I
sometimes.
don't even think they would care enough to
No.
cheat.
No. What are some of your funniest student stories?
So, I have a few. I remember one in particular, it was a first couple of years that I was teaching, and I'm a math guy. So, there was some words on the problem because it's a word problem. So they always say for us to read it to them and for them to pick out the keywords. I remember, and I'll name this kid Jay. I was asking Jay a question, and one of the keywords was sum, SUM. And I was like, "Hey, Jay, what does sum mean?" And without a beat, he looked at me dead in my eyes and he said, "Well, sum means just a little bit." And I had to double take him, and I'm like, "What? Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, some means just a little bit. I just want some." And I'm like, "Are you joking right now?" And I didn't let it go. That whole class lesson was ruined because Jay said that some was just a little bit. I could not believe it. But in his world, you know, some means addition, and he didn't care about that addition word. He cared about it's a little bit. And it was the funniest thing I've ever, and every day that I saw him after that, I'd be like, "What's up, son?" And, he kinda got over it after the first couple times, but I still think about it to this day. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
What does some mean?
It's just, "What is son?" Just a little bit, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." And he looked dead in my eyes, and it was so serious. And I was just like, "God bless your soul." And it was
Wait.
so funny. There's been a couple times, actually more than a couple, I would like to admit. Sorry to my wife who will be listening to this when it comes out. There'll be some times where we do our tutoring sessions after school, and it's largely with our ESL. So ESL is our English as a second language. But after tutoring, the kids sometimes would want to go play basketball. So we would go play basketball for, 30, sometimes 40 minutes at a time after tutoring, which tutoring ended at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we would be out there till like 5:30 playing basketball, shooting hoops. And there was one of our senior girls was, in the paint. I don't know if anyone that's listening knows basketball, but they were in the paint, which is right in that little block that's right underneath the goal.
Okay.
And she was guarding up and she was ready for anyone that was coming in. And here comes Mr. Medrano with the ball. And I was actually turned around when I first got the ball. So my back was towards her. I didn't know she was there. So when I swung around, she was right at my elbow.
Oh,
And
no.
I just whoosh. And this poor little girl, she probably weighed 140, 150. And I'm definitely bigger than that. So this poor girl just went whoosh. She flew. Her brother was there, so he's freaking out. He was laughing. And when she hit the floor, of course, I'm like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I swear from where she was to where she ended up, she slid like 3 more feet. She did like a penguin slide. And I'm just like, "Oh my, are you okay?" And she turned around and she was just laughing. It was the funniest thing to her. And I basically just assaulted her with this basketball play of me trying to get to the hoop. But shit, it was the funniest thing, and then when she graduated this year, she's like, "I'm really gonna miss us playing basketball." And I'm like, "After your college courses, your brother's still here, you can come play basketball
Yeah.
whenever we're available. Don't worry."
Always.
I told her though, I was like, "I won't hit you again though, I promise." Another one that happened recently this year, we had a kid that, oh man, he loved to get teachers and students together, and he would basically, like, assign these little parties,
Uh-huh.
and come to think of it, it was actually all for him. His birthday was in the summer,
Oh.
but of course, who wants a summer birthday? Well, you can have it during the school year. So
True.
we got together, and he basically had us organize it. And he's like, "I want a party for my birthday." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, buddy, we'll get you a party." A couple teachers came in, a lot of kids pitched in. We got tacos, we had chips, we had dip. We had a big party for this kid. It was gonna be a small party, and that 5 or 6 teachers turned into like 30, and like a long Google sheet of who's invited and what all we're gonna bring.
At
And
school?
it was all at school. It was during our 48-minute lunch period, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
So, we're organizing this massive party for this kid, and we're all happy. We're all taking photos, and it's all great. A week later, I found out he had a second party. And then about a week or 2 after that, he had a third party.
He's just having parties.
He's been setting up different groups to all throw a party for his birthday. And I'm just like, "Are you kidding me?" Man, he played us like a fiddle. Man, he played us. He really did, because he even told us, he was like, "I've been planning this for months." And I'm like, "Are you joking?" He's like, "I learned from the best." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And he always attested to me. He was like, "I learned it from you." I'm like, "I didn't teach you how to be this diabolical. Like, this is awesome." But I do.
You play hide and seek?
You play hide and seek. And, admin at first didn't know it. And that was hilarious.
Probably.
It was hilarious because I got one of the other admins. He's not technically a principal, but he's like the behavior guy. So I got him on the radio. I was like, "Hey, have you seen K?" Call him K. And he's like, "No, I haven't seen him yet. Let me look for him." And we're on the radio going back and forth. "I haven't found him. You found him?" And he's like, "No, I haven't found him yet." And then our head principal gets on the walkie, and she's like, "Is he missing?" And we're like, "No, we can't find him, but no, he's not missing." And she's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't get to tell you. We play hide and seek sometimes after school. It was a daily thing, but we had to cut it to like once a week because it was getting to be too much." And yeah, he cheats. It's like no one's business. And he always blames me. He's like, "I learned it from you." Like, "No, I don't cheat. I play fair and by the rules." But he was hiding in the bathroom. And that was one of the rules that we had came up with. Like, don't lock yourself in a room
Yeah.
where you can't get in, and no bathrooms, because that's gross. Hiding in the bathroom is gross.
Gross.
And yeah, he was hiding in the bathroom, sitting on the floor. And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And he always laughs, and he's having a good time. When he was a freshman, he had emailed me, and ever since then, it's just been, you know, all of us little group together. He has a group of kids that he really loves hanging out with. He has a group of teachers he loves hanging out with. I really don't know what I'm gonna do when he's gone. We're gonna do a graduation party. He's gonna have 4 of them.
Or I know.
I'm gonna be at one of them at least,
How
because he's not gonna tell me about the other ones. It's gonna be secret.
did he ever say which party was the most fun?
No, we never asked him that, but I would hope that he would say our party was the fun one,
I hope.
because we got a big group. That little party committee that we had ended up turning into like 30, 40 people
Wow.
showing up. And we're like, "Man, not all teachers.
Wow.
Half of them were kids, and a lot of them were our ESLs. They love being with him. They love hanging out with him, and he's really found a good little community with us." But yeah, it
Fun.
it was it was crazy that I found out he had 2 separate parties. It was I was both upset and proud. I'm like, "How dare you?" but that's really good.
Is there anything that you would like to say to your students?
I know that math isn't always your favorite subject, but just know that me teaching it to you is just my way of showing you how the world works. They're not always going to agree with what the problem is. What does it say? Yes, I know that they throw letters and numbers all at the same time. No, I don't care about some of the word problems. But the thing that I want you to get most out of the things I taught you was how to problem solve. If you can look at a problem and know exactly what to do, then I taught you well. And it doesn't have to be math related. It can translate to any problem that you have once you get out of these four walls of high school. That any problem that you have, you can tackle it as long as you know what the right step is to do. And I know as we grow older, there's tons of things that we could have done, tons of things we could have done better. But the first thing is always what to do. And that's always the hardest. So do what you know. Do the best that you can and know that, if you ever do come across a problem that you don't know how to solve, ask for help.
Mm.
And that's one of the things I've always tried to do in my own personal life. If I don't know how to do something, I'm going to ask for help. And I want not only to know how to do it, I want you to teach me. So that way, if anyone else needs to ask for help, I know what to say to them. And that's one thing that I always try to give my kids, especially with this group that I just had, those seniors that had just left and graduated. Congrats to the class of 2026. They I try to tell them that, you know, know your worth, you know, go do what you want to go do. Make sure that it's something sustainable. Cause I had some kids that were like, oh, I'm gonna make it big in crypto. I'm like, I hope crypto works out. Cause I would be scared about that. I wouldn't know what to do on that field, but find something and just go do it. Cause, you know, everyone has their own little story after high school. And, you know, unfortunately some of them don't get to their big dreams that they want, but I want them to shoot for it
Absolutely.
and go as far as they can. If you shoot for the stars, you can still land on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I always try to tell them and let all my students know.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate all that you shared with us today.
Oh, thank you.
And I really appreciate all of my listeners out there. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to give us a good review on Spotify and YouTube. It really does help boost our numbers. And be sure to follow us at the Unauthorized Teacher Podcast with no spaces on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and TikTok. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you for listening.